Good morning, beloveds. Yeah, it's wet outside. That's fantastic. It's cooler. It's wet. That made the gym a little interesting because since we work out in a garage, half of his garage was taken up by a stage for the production that they're doing this weekend, and it was wet, so we couldn't go outside. But we got the workout done. We missed the ab work. We just didn't get that far. I took a picture. We'll see if I actually do it. Because it's planks and yeah. Alright. It is September 29th. Our title is The Healing Christ Abides with Me. And our quote is, "Be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap." That is Galatians 6:7. Okay. You have heard about the healing Christ who can come to you with power. Do you realize that this Christ is already here? This Christ is the incarnation of God in every individual. Not a person lives who does not at some time in his life sense this inward presence, this vision of the divine, which presses against us. It is seeking entrance through our thoughts. We must open the door of our consciousness and permit it to enter. It is willingness, acceptance, and recognition that give entrance to the divine presence. It is faith and acknowledgement that permits its creative power to flow through our word. Say, "Today, I am opening my consciousness to a realization of the living Christ, the eternal sonship of the everlasting Father. I know that he dwells in me. I know that there is an invisible guide, a living presence with me at all times. With complete simplicity and directness, I recognize my divine center. Consciously, I unify myself with this pure spirit in which I live, move, and have my being. I am strong with the strength of the all-vitalizing power of pure spirit. I am sustained by divine energy which flows through me as radiant health and vitality. Every atom of my being responds to this divine presence. I completely surrender myself to it." All right. So that last line's the kicker. I completely surrender myself to it. But let's go back up and all those fun words. We must open the door of our consciousness and permit it to enter. So yesterday I was talking about free will. This is what I'm talking about. The Christ, the God, the Spirit, whatever you want to say, is already within us. As I like to say, we come pre-installed with the Christ consciousness. But it is our free will whether or not we choose to use it. And that's where we can get off track. It's like we come pre-installed with this software, with this Christ consciousness, but we have to choose to use it. And he says up here, it is willingness, acceptance, and recognition that give entrance to the divine presence. So the divine presence is always in our subconscious. It is always within us because it is what we are made up of. But for it to enter our consciousness, for us to consciously use it, we have to be willing, we have to accept it, and we have to recognize that that's what it is. And then the next line is, it is faith and acknowledgement that permits its creative power to flow through our word. So that power is always there. And what I'm going to tell you is it's a latent power. It's like you are always using that power. Are you using it as effectively as you could comes down to whether or not you're recognizing that you're using it. Because we speak our word a lot. Anytime we speak our word and we wrap that word in a whole lot of emotion, then we're putting a whole lot of power behind that word. Now stop and think how many times you speak your word wrapped in emotion and then you wonder why you got what you got. And you're like, oh, Because the last time I got mad and I spoke my word in anger, the law went, well, there's a lot of energy about that. Let's do that. Because the law doesn't judge. The law does not know emotion. The law does not know positive emotion, negative emotion, preferred or non-preferred emotion, whatever way you want to use it, because there is such a thing as righteous anger. You can absolutely speak your word in anger and get good results. But you have to be aware that that is what you are doing. And so that's where we're talking about willingness, acceptance, and recognition. You've got to recognize when you are speaking your word and wrapping your word in power. You have to do it consciously. So when we talk about free will, we talk about free will from the standpoint of you already have this power. You already have this Christ consciousness. You have to consciously use it, which means you want to guard your words a little bit more. You don't want to waste your word on things that you don't want. So when you get angry, you want to stop a beat, think, and this is where I like to talk about the difference between reaction and response. Because a reaction, there's no thought behind that, but a response is thought. So when you get angry, and I'm definitely using the non-preferred, because this is frequently how we use our power without realizing it. So when you get angry, you stop. You stop for a beat, a minute, however long it takes you, and you organize your thoughts. Because you are about to inject a whole lot of power into the words, that your word. And you want to make sure that you get back what you want. What is it that is making you angry, and what is it that will adjust the situation? And that's where you want your words to go. You don't just want to spit a bunch of power into the universe about something that you don't want. There's frequently times that we are angry about things that we can't do anything about. And in those situations, we have a tendency to rail against what we don't want. And the universe is going, well, there's a whole lot of power there. So if we are in a situation where we are angry and there is nothing that we can do about that situation, don't waste that power on the situation. Use that power in another way. And I'm not telling you not to get angry. Just like I would never encourage you not to be passionate. I want you to be passionate. I just want you to be conscious of what you are being passionate about. Use that power. When you get angry, use that power. When you are excited, use that power consciously. And that is why the drumbeat of Science of Mind is consciousness. Be conscious of the words that you speak. Be conscious of the emotional state of the words that you speak, because your words have power. All right. So, the healing Christ abides with me. And that's where that Galatians, be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Galatians 6:7. So when you are angry and you reap and you sow angry words, what you are going to reap is angry words. But if you are angry and you sow righteous, meaning good for everybody, words, then you will reap a change in the situation. And that's what we're after. And so use your words consciously. All right. You have heard about the healing Christ who can come to you with power. Do you realize that this Christ is already here? That's what I'm talking about. We come pre-installed with the Christ consciousness. This is the model that we are built on. All right? It's already there. It's already there. This Christ is the incarnation of God in every individual. Pre-installed. And I'll give you a hint. The password is love. Not a person lives who does not, at some time in his life, his or her life, sense this inward presence, this vision of the divine which presses against us. Absolutely everybody at some point in their life bumps up against this. Frequently, we do it in situations that I would say are not preferred. But frequently, I mean, there's a whole lot of mystics out there. When you walk into something beautiful, churches being a good example, but nature being another example. When you walk into a forest, somewhere, or you go mountain climbing, you walk in it, you feel that divine presence. There was that place when I was sitting in Colorado, when I was in Horsetooth Rock, and I was literally up with my back up against the horse tooth. My husband had climbed up. I couldn't do it, but I've got my back up against it, and I'm looking at that vista. In that moment, yeah, I felt God. I felt God because it was beautiful. It was beautiful. So, but we also come across them in situations of when we are facing a health challenge, when we are sitting in a doctor's office, when we are sitting in a hospital, and we feel God press up against us, because in that moment it's reminding us, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm waiting for you to accept that I'm here. I'm waiting for you to accept that I'm here. I've always been here, but I'm waiting on you to accept it. Like, God's always knocking. How often are we opening the door? It is seeking entrance through our thoughts. We must open the door of our consciousness and permit it to enter. God's always knocking. Are we willing to open the door? It is willingness, acceptance, and recognition that gives entrance to the divine presence. That's the free will. It is faith and acknowledgement that permit its creative power to flow through our word. All right? We got to know we're using that power. We got to know we're using it, because we're always using it. Always. And the more emotion we have behind it, the more of it we're using. Faith and acknowledgement. So now we are on to the power statements, the treatment part, the mantras. Feel free to use these words. Actually, you can use any of these words, but he says, it says it right there, say. So, and if any of the words don't ring true with you, feel free to change them, because there's a place in here where I'm absolutely going to change it. Today, I am opening my consciousness to a realization of the living Christ. Right here, right now, right within me. Right here, right now, right within you. The eternal childship of the everlasting Spirit. I know that it dwells in me. I know that there is an invisible guide, a living presence with me at all times. There is never a time that I walk alone. There is never a time that you walk alone. But it is our responsibility to acknowledge that presence, to recognize that presence, and to go to that presence, to go within and say, all right, I don't know what to do now. Help me. And then be open to the guidance, because sometimes the guidance will come back and you're like, but I didn't want to do that. And here we are. Trust me, I fought the ministerial school for 10 years. I fought that ministerial call for 10 years. And here we are. With complete simplicity and directness, I recognize my divine center. We point to the heart. We point to the heart. We talk about that place where nothing has ever been wrong. We talk about that place where we meet unfiltered God. That's what I'm talking about. Consciously, I unify myself with this pure spirit in which I move, live, and have my being. I am strong with the strength of the all-vitalizing power of pure spirit, because that is what we're made of. We are made of pure spirit because there is nothing that is not spirit. I am sustained by divine energy which flows through me as radiant health and vitality. Every atom of my being responds to this divine presence. I completely surrender myself to it. All right? So if you're questioning, what's the mission today? What is the mission? Should we choose to accept it? To completely surrender ourselves to the divine presence, which is a terrifying idea, except for the fact that it's love. That's all. There's nothing else but love. What we are doing is we are completely surrendering to the divine love. The love of ourselves, the love of each other, the love of the world. And that kind of love, the divine love, nothing bad can happen there. Nothing bad can happen there. So it's worth being willing to completely surrender. So that's the mission. And as always, I will encourage you to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself, whatever that looks like today. Whatever that, however big, however small, do something loving, kind, and compassionate for yourself because you deserve it. You are a beloved child of God in whom God is well pleased. Always. Always. That is our state of grace. Grace is not earned. Grace is granted. And God always grants that. Always. Because we're made of that. All right. I also say that because you deserve your own loving, kind compassion, and practice makes permanent. Practice compassion on yourself. Bank it up so that when you encounter situations where you need a little extra, you've got it. And when you encounter people that need a little extra, you've got it banked. All right. I also encourage you to do something to engage your mind and your body, whatever that looks like. I know it's raining. I still got my workout in. So do something to engage your mind and your body. I don't know about the sun. I don't know if we're going to see any sun in the next couple of days, but do what you can. Drink plenty of water. Always drink plenty of water. And open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you you do live in heaven right here, right now. Right now. It's just waiting for you to acknowledge it. Because the more good you look for, the more good you see. The more good you see, the more there is. All right, beloveds? That is how we live in heaven on earth. By being good to each other and looking for the good. Because where we focus, that's where our power goes. All right. So why not focus on the good? All right, beloveds, I am going to move into the process of my day. I feels like there's something else I should say. It's Wednesday. So the Living of the Science of Mind book study is today. That's at 6. And I know that there's a board meeting. You guys can come to the board meeting if you want to. Just email Jessie or email info@creativelife.org. Say, hey, I want to come to the board meeting. They're exciting. Not really. We talk about taking care of the campus. So, but that's happening today too. Both of those are at 6 o'clock. So like I said, email info@creativelife.org if you want either of those links. Just get on the mailing list, find out what's going on. Cause you never know. There are things going on that I don't know about. Reverend David should be on Facebook Live around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Do what you need to do to make it a wonderful day, an amazing day, a great day, a fantastic day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. All right, beloveds, know that you're loved. Absolutely. And I will see you next time.